Hey everybody, I've had a busy few days sorting out the DR and the MOT. I'll get onto that in a later video because I'm going to need to make some adaptations to the light. And the weather for the past few days has been absolutely awful, so I thought let's do another one of these commonly asked questions about motorcycles on Google. I've done two before now and they proved to be very popular and people requested I do more, so let's do more. Do motorcycles pay the congestion charge? No, they are exempt from it everywhere from my understanding. Do motorcycles have mirrors? Yes, they do have mirrors. However, they're not a legal requirement for MOT or anything like that. However, if they are fitted, they must not be cracked and they must be working. So, if you have a cracked mirror, it will fail its MOT. If you take the mirror off, it will pass. And it won't make it a daytime or anything like that. They're not a legal requirement on a motorcycle, as our indicators are not either, because we can use our arms. But if they are fitted, again, they have to be functioning. Do motorcycles have alternators? Yes, but they're not called alternators, they're called stators. And basically it is just a magnet which is on the main shaft of the engine, and as that basket spins around with the magnets in it, it passes over the copper coils and creates an electrical field which can then be put through the system and charge the battery and run the bike. Do motorcycles have catalytic converters? Most modern bikes do, yes, if they're a larger CC. Smaller CC, not so much. And interestingly, they're again an example of where they are required by some manufacturer, or I think they're required by some of the Euro 5 requirements for emissions, or they need to use them, but you can actually remove that if you wish to, and it won't be an MOT issue unless it comes up to emissions problems. Do motorcycle helmets expire? Yes, they do. They shouldn't be used for more than about 3 years at a time. You can push that a little bit further, but the reason for that is that the materials of the helmet will degrade. Obviously, over time, you're going to give it bumps and things, and it may make it less suitable to be used in a crash. Also, the EDS, I think it's called the EPS, or is it the EPS? It's basically the foam inside can go hard, and then it doesn't have its shock absorbing potential that it should have. One of the ways you can test this is if you feel the EDS, EPS, I'm trying to remember now which, it's one or the other, you can feel the brow ridge on the inside and see if your fingers make a dent. If they do, and then they come back out over a reasonable amount of time, then you know it's probably okay still. Generally, I'm not an expert and this is just something I was told, so don't use this as safety advice, but generally if it comes back, it's going to be okay. If it's gone off, it's going to leave marks and it won't pop back out again. Basically, it's lost its elasticity. Do motorcycles have radios? No, generally they do not. However, there are some models out there, like the Goldwings, did they come with radios? Maybe some Harleys. There are a few 125s that got MP3 players on them, but generally, no. Do motorcycles pay ULEZ? No, that's to do with the emissions. Do motorcycles have to pay for parking? Generally, every pay and display area I've ever seen says disabled and motorcycles exempt. There may be places where this isn't the case, where you go through a gate, but even my local multi-storey has a way for you to go around the edge. You can park up for free, and then you just drive out of your very own special little motorcycle lane, so you do not pay. Do motorcycles have horns? Yes, they do have horns, and they are one of the things that's on your MOT that must work for it to pass. It just has to have one. It's not one of these things that if it's fitted, it's got to work. You just have to have a working horn. Funnily, I think, and I haven't double checked this, but I'm pretty sure that the old school honk honk ones, like almost the clown horns, they actually do pass as a horn. It might be tricky to get that on past your local MOT place, but I'm sure it's not a requirement for it to be an electric one or have a certain amount of decibel levels. I don't think. Though I guess it probably says it should be in good working order. And if it's going rather than actually making a proper noise, they'll probably fail it. Do motorcycles need an MOT? After the first 3 years, yes, and until they're 40 years old, then no. How do motorcycles work? That is such a general question, I'm not going to try and answer it. I have ones on engines and gearboxes and tons of mechanical explanations in my mechanical explanations playlist, but yeah, I can't go too specific. How do motorcycles charge batteries? We've already talked about that. How do motorcycles not fall over? Well, side stand, if it's not got a rider on it. If it's got a rider on it, well then it is the balance that is gained by the spinning of the wheels. You don't need to balance a motorcycle yourself like a push bike so much, although even with a push bike, once you get going, it wants to stay up. So to do with the gyroscopic effects the wheels have once they're spinning with their weight. And then that obviously leads into counter steering and things like that, which I also have a video on. How do motorcycles change gear? Using a clutch and a gear lever, just like anything else. If you want to know exactly how to do that, watch my video, How to Ride a Motorcycle. How do motorcycles get away with speeding? Because they can't catch us. No, we don't. People get done for speeding all of the time. Cars speed all the time as well. You know, you can sit. I quite often, if I'm on the motorway and I'm not trying to really get somewhere quick, I'll sit in the left-hand lane at 70 miles an hour and just cruise along. And I'll watch the majority of the traffic, cars going past me, 10 to 20 miles an hour faster than me. So this sort of idea that all bikers speed, well, so do car drivers, a lot of them. Normally, though, I find that motorcyclists will maybe go faster than cars will go, but they tend to be more selective about where they're doing it. They don't do it in the middle of town unless you're just being an idiot. And then, how do motorcycles see in the rain? Well, the motorcycle doesn't see itself. Motorcycles aren't sentient creatures with eyes. That's a lie. They don't have eyes, but they are sentient creatures, and mine hates me. Basically a visor, but this is a big issue for motorcyclists. We have no windscreen wiper to clear the rain off. We can use different techniques to try and get the rain to come off a visor. You have fog issues on the inside. There are ways around all of these things, but generally, in heavy rain, it's very difficult to see on a bike. So again, how do motorcycles accelerate? With an engine? Like anything else that's motorized? How do they accelerate? Bizarre question. I think it's one of the most common. Will motorcycles be banned in 2030, 2035, be banned in California? Will motorcycles ever be banned, become electric, be banned in 2040? Right. I previously didn't think motorcycles were included on the ban because in the 2030, 2035 ban, I can't remember which one it is now, they keep moving it around. At first, they thought bikes were included because they'd said like all internal combustion engines. Then the government said, no, motorcycles aren't included in this is not. Then they sort of moved the date back and everyone went, does that still mean that bikes aren't included? And then clarification came about a year ago now, maybe, after I'd last looked into this, that motorcycles are definitely now going to internal combustion engine motorcycles will be no longer produced and sold in showrooms from 2030, 2035, whenever they bring that in. How the next couple of years goes might change this, but we'll see. It might force the issue. It might make it more difficult to go down that road because to make electric vehicles, you need chips and you need materials and you need all sorts of things that are about to or are becoming or have become far harder to get hold of. The chip shortage was bad before, is about to get a whole lot worse because I don't know if you know this, but a couple of the countries which are currently having a lot of problems, and I'm not saying their names, not because I don't want to get involved, it's because I don't want this video to get connected by the algorithm to any of that stuff, produce the most of the neon that's required to etch chip dies things. So and there's lots of other materials they produce as well, which causes quite a considerable problem for manufacturers, and that's only going to be worse than what we've previously seen. Okay, so can I motorcycle, and it's filling in some stuff for us here, which is quite handy. Can I drive motorcycle with car license? Now, you can't drive one, you can only ride one, but it's a moped if your car license is old enough. And I have done a video on this and one about motorcycle licenses, specifically to do with what you can and can't ride at what ages and what's required to get the licenses. Can I buy a motorcycle without a license? Of course you can buy one without a license. You just can't ride it on a public highway. Can I get a motorcycle insured without a license? Yes, you can, because some people wish to use their motorcycles in the tests themselves, and also you want to insure the bike while it's at your home, but obviously the relevant information about where your license level is at the time has to be given to them. Can I ride a motorcycle while pregnant? That's not a question I'm going to answer. It's obviously it's not something I'm going to come across. I guess where do you bring the question of risk in? Like, it's risky getting in a car. It's also risky getting on a bike. It's also risky walking down the stairs. So I guess that's up to people. But obviously, as things progress, it's just going to be difficult getting in your leathers, I guess. But that again is personal choice. Okay, well there we go. I tell you what, I haven't done this for a long time. I normally do a monthly Q&A for my patrons, and I haven't done a public one for a very, very long time. How about on this video, and I'm not going to mention it, before, so people who don't watch this video come in and ask questions, how about you leave more questions like this that I can answer shortly in the comments of this video, and in say a week's time, or when the rain is pouring and again I'm having problems making videos, I will go through and I'll answer all those questions in the same quick style. So please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and all those things you know that will make me happy, because I'm on my way to 100k and I'd really appreciate it. If you want to help support this channel, please do that through Patreon. And yeah, leave those comments below and I will get to them in a week or so, something like that. And yeah, let's get the public involved in this one for a bit of a laugh.